first we need to understand what data is and what we're actually doing. So first we're doing the measure of central tendency. And really this is just a fancy way that we say the ways to analyze. So the measure of central tendency is the ways to analyze and collect data. So you probably do this without knowing it, and you are just measuring all the central tendencies. So what that means is how the data is working together. So there are three ways we do this: the mode, the median, and the mean. Hopefully these sound familiar. If not, that's a-okay. So first, let's figure out what these three things mean. If someone wants you to analyze data, they're going to ask you to do either all three of these, or a couple of these, or just one of them. So before you do anything with data, you want to make sure you order your data from least to greatest. That can be a huge mistake if you don't do that in the beginning. So first thing you want to do is order your data from least to greatest. So I'm going to do that, and you can do that at the same time I am. And I cross them out as I go, so I know I've got them all. But you do not have to do it that way. And you want to write down both numbers if it appears more than once. So hopefully your data looks something like that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 8, 12. All right. So we're going to go from simplest to hardest. Mode is definitely the simplest. Mean has the name for the reason because it's kind of mean. It's probably the most challenging and the most time consuming. So first is the mode, and mode is the number that occurs the most. So mode is the number that occurs the most in your data. And sometimes there may not be a mode. Sometimes every number may only appear once, or every number may appear twice. But if a number appears more than any other number, that's what we call the mode. So in this data, if you notice, the 8 appears twice. It's the only number that appears more than once. So in this situation, 8 is going to be our mode. 8 is our mode because it appears the most. All right, next is going to be median. This is why your numbers have to be in order. So median you've probably heard of if you're driving down the road with your parents or your grandma or whoever, and they talk about, oh, the median. It's the thing that's in the middle of the road, separating one side of the road from the other. And that's basically what this is. It's going to be the middle number. So this is going to be the number in the middle. Now, sometimes you might get two numbers in the middle, and so you have to find what number is exactly in between those. So if you get two numbers in the middle, let's say you have a 5 and a 6 in the middle. If two numbers in the middle, you're going to add the 2 and then divide by 2. So basically you would do 5 plus 6 and get 11, and then do 11 divided by 2 and get 5.5. You're basically trying to find that number in between those two numbers. So if there's two numbers in the middle, you're going to add them and then divide by 2. And that will happen more than you think. But if not, you're just finding the number in the middle. Now remember, your numbers have to be ordered from least to greatest. So how I do this is I'm going to rewrite the data just so I keep the original data. All right. And how I do it is I use little tick marks. So I just go 2 on this side, 12 on this side, 3 on this side, 8 on this side, 4 on this side, 8 on this side. I have 3 check marks on this side, 3 check marks on this side, with 5 being in the middle. So my median is 5, because it's the number directly in the middle. Now remember, you can pause this as many times as you want, go back and watch it as many times as you want. So 5 is in the middle. All right, mean is the worst. Mean takes the longest. It requires the most energy. And mean is a fancy word for average. So we're finding the average. Sorry, my thing went black out. We're finding the average. Now, to do the average, you're going to add all the data. You're going to add all the numbers in the data. And then you're going to divide by the number of data points. Remember, you can pause this. So if you need some time to write that down, pause it and then go on. All right. So basically, we're going to add up all these numbers. We're going to do 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 8 plus 8 plus 12. Now, I know you obviously can't do that in your head, and if you can, that's awesome. If not, you're just going to have to add them to the side the best you can. And in this situation, you're going to get 42. 42. All right. So I've added all the data, and then I need to divide by the number of data points. So all that means is count the numbers. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to do 42 divided by 7 is 6. So my mean is 6. So as you can tell, it went from mode, which was pretty simple, to mean, which gets a little bit more challenging. All right, I'm going to challenge you to try the next part on your own. So if you would pause the video and try the next part on your own. I'm going to remind you so you don't forget to order those from least to greatest, because if you don't, it's going to be difficult. So first things first, order from least to greatest. All right, so hopefully you're back with me. Hopefully the mode was the easiest, and hopefully for the mode you got 50. All right, the median hopefully threw you in for a little loop. So the median, you hopefully went 40, 59, 45, 50. Well, there's 2 numbers in the middle. So remember, when you have 2 in the middle, you need to do 48 plus 50, and you got 98. And then divide it by 2, and hopefully you got 49. Because 49 is directly in between the 2 of those. So this is your median. 49 should have been your median. And then your mean, hopefully when you added them up, you got 292. And you divided that by 6. And hopefully you got 48.66, and the 6 just kept going. So put that little line above it to represent a repeating decimal. Hopefully. Now, if all you did was the division wrong on the mean, you're doing all right. If you added them incorrectly, as long as you're understanding what we're actually doing, that's A-okay. All right. Flip to the back for me. Flip to the back. All right. Sometimes you're going to get an outlier. An outlier is a data value that is much greater or much less than the other data values. An outlier can affect the mean. So sometimes you're going to have a number that makes the average go way up or makes the average go way down. All right, so first, these are the approximate land areas that can be farmed in Central American countries. So if you notice, they're all relatively close. They're all relatively close. But there is one that is a major outlier, one that's not even relatively close. And hopefully you're seeing that that is, there's actually 2 that I would say. There's actually 2. But Belize is like way off. Belize isn't even in the thousands. And Honduras isn't even is 1,500 more than the highest one, which was Guatemala. And Belize is only 1,000 left. So really we have 2 that are probably an outlier. So you can identify that outlier by just writing Belize outliers, if we took them out, it's going to drop significantly to 2,533 square miles. So as you can tell, if you put numbers in that are completely off, your mean is going to change, obviously, because you have these numbers that are totally skewed. Just like if you were looking at a bunch of houses and all of them are selling for, let's say, $10, but then you have this really nice one that's selling for $500, that's going to make a big difference in your mean in that house. So, as you can tell, was the mean affected? Well, yeah. And how do we know? Because it went down significantly when removed. So just be aware of outliers. Sometimes we'll ask you to take out the outlier so it doesn't interfere. So typically when there is an outlier, you're going to remove the outlier from the data points. All right, last little part. Which measure is the best? So sometimes you're going to be given data and you have to know what should you use, mode, should you use mean, or should you use median? What measure is best? And you have 3 to choose from. So, mode is best when the data is not numbers. So if the data was like, what's your favorite color, you'd want to use the mode, because if yellow showed up the most, we would know that yellow. If you are determining the most frequently chosen item, so just like color, or we were saying, what's your favorite Halloween candy, or what's your favorite thing to eat at Thanksgiving? If it's not involving numbers, you're most likely going to choose the mode. Most likely going to choose the mode. Just like the example, the favorite movie. Well, we can't find the mean of that. We can't really find the median, but we can figure out which one's occurring the most. All right, mean. You're going to use the mean when the data is numbers. So if it is numbers, you're going to use the mean, and it doesn't involve an outlier. If there's not an outlier, your best bet is to use the mean, definitely. If there's not an outlier, go ahead and use that mean. Now, the median is when the data is numerical, and an outlier may significantly influence the mean. Definitely. Like this example is a good one for TLS. The distance students in your class travel to school. There's going to be outliers. Some of you travel 45 minutes to get to school, where a majority of us only travel about 15 to 20, but that 45 minutes is going to be a huge outlier. So in that situation, we're going to use the median, the number that falls in the middle. If there's an outlier, you're going to want to use the median. If there's not, go ahead and use that median. So today, let's just recap. We learned how to find the mean, the median, and the mode. And we talked about an outlier, how we know when there is one, and which one's best for each situation. So mode, when it's not number related, mean, when there's not an outlier, median, when there is an outlier. Feel free to go back and watch this video as many times as you need. Press pause, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you tomorrow.